I think they need to have a lot of focus on the bucket that was set aside for the downside scenario. We know that we need to keep them invested for a large portion of their money, at least, maybe more than 50% in most cases in the market, so we can keep up with inflation over time and continue to sustain the lifestyle that they want to live. But if the market isn't good, if it is kind of all of these worst fears come true, you have not one, not two, not three, not four, more than 5 years of retirement income that can be tapped into as we allow the market to recover with everything that needs to fund your long goals. And so I think as we continue to draw back to, yes, that may come true, or we don't know what's going to ultimately happen in the future, and they want some peace of mind, going back to that bucket, the store and the core, where we have backup plans for when the market does inevitably fall, and a plan in that scenario, that tends to be what alleviates people and really gets them to not focus as much on what's the day-to-day direction of the market.
And Kev, I might take it a step further because that's a great way to describe kind of how people get through the inevitable downturns. But we know through over 20 years of working with families who are retired that they are inherently risk averse. So it doesn't matter how many market cycles they've been through, the next downturn will inevitably rattle their cage. And so we use a lot of education and coaching to guide them and to ensure that they kind of avoid the big mistake, right? Allowing their emotions to dictate behavior. And charts like this are a great reminder that you've been through this before, you got through the difficult environments, you, in fact, profited from it. And ultimately, you have a lot more than you did before the downturn. And so I think the coaching, the teaching, going through multiple market cycles ultimately lead to investor and retiree confidence that they're going to be okay the next time.
You can be at risk in two different distinct ways. You can risk being too exposed to the downside. And that's what is talked about most. That's what most people worry about, is what happens when the market loses 30%, what will happen to my retirement. But you can also risk, and this is the more probable risk, common risk, is not being as exposed as you need to be to the upside. And that's not having enough invested in growth assets, and particularly stocks. And we see this all the time when clients get a little bit worried, they want to park it in cash, but we'll take a look at the risk of sitting in too much cash or too many bonds, risks not being able to continue to sustain this nest egg for that 20, 30, 40-year period that you're going to need it to. And you're going to continue to lose money year after year as inflation and taxes eat away at this nest egg if you're not growing it. And so that's why these different buckets and these different roles and responsibilities and this systematic forward looking approach is have exposure to all of these different areas. So when the market does what it does, we're not surprised. We're prepared and we have somewhere to tap into for that next year of retirement or that big one-off expense that you might face.